and stakeholders in Abuja on Thursday gathered in respect to the ripple effect of the 2023 general elections with effort to advance democracy as it relates to inclusivity of citizens in various political parties across Nigeria. The National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, in conjunction with the Westminster Foundation for Democracy in Nigeria, urged political parties to better the inclusion of women, youth and persons with disabilities. KAFTAN TV's correspondent Mavis Ako tells us more.
Stakeholders, with the goal of promoting democracy, have renewed calls for inclusivity in political parties to promote the participation of marginalized population, particularly women, youth and persons with disabilities in the process of decision-making. This was stated in Abuja on Thursday during a public presentation of a research report on the inclusive practices of political parties in Nigeria. In his speech, the Director General NILS, Abubakar Suleiman, stated the need for Nigeria to provide a democratic system that is inclusive, accommodative, and focused in the best interest of all.
This interactive learning is perhaps more important, given the growing disenchantment with democracy as a system of government, especially by young people in our country. Nigeria as a country, the most populous country in Africa, must therefore provide the needed leadership to other African countries on the merit of a democratic system that is inclusive, accommodative, and focused on the best interests of citizens rather than the interests and the egos of some few individuals. An essential requirement for sustainable democracy, therefore, is political inclusion, especially for minorities and marginalized groups in our country.
With previous investments to get inclusiveness in political parties, the Westminster Foundation for Democracy speaks on the collaboration with NILS.
Nigeria has always been on the negative side of indicators in terms of inclusion, and I think it is actually getting worse, and that is why we must not give up on political parties. And that is why we had to work with NILS to look at a totally different way of working with political parties to be able to get results. Political parties are very essential to the effort at advancing democracy, and that is why we at the Westminster Foundation for Democracy are keen to continue to work with political parties, not only to ensure that they are internally more democratic than they are or are expected to be, but that they are even better inclusive.
Experts say the political potential of persons with disabilities need to be harnessed.
They play an important role in aggregating and representing public interests, shaping political agendas, and developing government policies and programs. And parties are also a vehicle for contesting power, for earning the right to govern through peaceful elections, as we have just witnessed. So to become more competitive, parties can make room for diverse voices within their organizations and practice more inclusive policy making and decision making. Now, these actions and inclusive practices in general will help build and maintain a broader base of constituent support and earn citizens' trust, thus further strengthen democracy.
When we do research like this, it helps us to find out a lot of things. Now, after that, we need to work together to see what we can be able to do to mend the bridges, and now mend the bridges to make sure that we achieve disability inclusion in our political parties. Some of the political parties are trying their best. Some of them are very, very far, and we need to bring all of them to realize that importance. There are what we call political potentials in the populations of persons with disabilities today in Nigeria. The forthcoming national population census is expected to bring out the true number of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. Keep encouraging everybody, because the next population census is going to measure disability based on difficulties.
Therefore, it is hoped that the report findings will spur political parties towards taking more deliberate actions to ensure inclusiveness in internal party processes. From the nation's capital, Mavis Ako, KAFTAN TV News.